me right. I have no personal independent payment anymore. What does this mean? This means I might be forced to move home because unless my appeal wins, I cannot afford to live here anymore in this flat. This is quite terrifying. This is absolutely awful. And I wasn't expecting it at all. Even the letter he makes reference to the fact, the assessor does, the fact that I I that I wouldn't be expected to think this was the outcome. Basically, I could read bits of it for you, but it's just really, 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 really weird. So I can't obviously show you my address, but it's just so horrible. Um, so it's like a crisis, you know what I mean? In the UK, it's terrible. They're just slashing benefits, and I really don't deserve it because I've got more problems now than when I got awarded it about 2.5 years ago. So it's really, really bad. And it's not fair because I've got a spinal injury now on top of fibromyalgia and CPTSD I've got as well, and anxiety. And so it's a lot harder for me with movement as well with my spine now because although the bone's growing back, it grows back in a wedge shape. So my spine will never be aligned again. I've lost height and everything. And it's a very big struggle to deal with fibromyalgia pain and deal with the pain of the back injury as well, and having to exercise, but then exercise makes it worse, and then I have to stop exercising. And then my back gets worse again. So the exercise is better for my back injury, but it's worse for fibromyalgia pain. It just makes it all worse. And so I go through a cycle of like, what do I spend my time and energy on? And at the moment, I'm barely getting any sleep because I'm busy doing the reports for Universal Credit because of their screw up. And, I've got to get that finished first because the deadline, although they've extended the deadline, thank God, the deadline for that, is earlier, but also I'm not being paid. They've suspended my payments until I get all the self-employed income expenditure in for 4 years because they removed me from self-employment status in 2021, one of their agents, right? So some people don't understand this. They're like, oh, well, I've had some really negative comments and I've had some lovely supportive comments as well. I've been self-employed since 2013. I used to work for the NHS, right? And I used to be in an employed job and do the NHS job alongside a full-time management job, right? So I wasn't always self-employed doing what I do now. I was self-employed doing other stuff, but I continued my self-employment because I'm an author, right? So I had a job that I had to leave because it made my disabilities much, much worse. And that's when I went on to Universal Credit, and then I had to get PIP, personal dependent payment, which I was declined twice, and then the third time, the DWP settled out of court with me because I was going to go to a tribunal, right? And I've had Citizens Advice in the UK trying to help me in the past, and they couldn't actually get me the benefit, but I should be having it because my mobility is really affected a lot of the time. I'm indoors. You might notice most of my live streams are indoors. Most of my videos are indoors. They're not outdoors. Do you know what I mean? So I actually spend a lot of time at home indoors, and I have to do what they call pain like an energy management. So it means like if I spend time and energy on housework, for example, it's really bad because it means I haven't got enough energy to do other things. I've barely had any sleep in like 3 days now. Even my voice is starting to go. You can hear it. So I really need to relax, but I can't relax. I've had problems in this flat since I've been here for over 3 months with lots of trauma. If you didn't already know the backstory, I've had leaks, gas leak, electrics blowing up in the old boiler, leaking carbon monoxide. And when I mean blowing up, a flame singed the engineer's hair. And even recently there was another leak in this flat, right? So has been a lot of problems in this flat. So you could say, well, it's good if I move, because obviously there's been lots of problems. But at the end of the day, I do like being here now, and there are advantages. The neighbours are really nice. I can fit a massive washer dryer in, so I can wash lots of my clothes because I sweat and stuff because of my conditions. And I have got a big fridge freezer, so I can fill it up with a lot more frozen food. So if I can't get to the shops because I'm in too much pain, I've always got some food in usually and things like this. And they have adapted some stuff in the bathroom for me, put like a towel railing, because sometimes I don't have showers for a couple of days and I'm in my pajamas. As long as my hair looks nice, then I'm fine. I had a shower today, just in case you're wondering. And and other times I have to have a couple of showers in a day because of the sweat and stuff like that. I don't want to go into every detail because it's my personal business. But obviously disabilities can affect people in different ways. But I had my PIP just stopped out of the blue, and they've given me no points for any categories, which is stupid because I had points in those categories before, and my condition hasn't changed. In fact, I've got more conditions and more health issues now because of the injury to my spine last year. So it's been really, really horrible. Once I've done the self-employment reports, then Universal Credit will give me my payment, because I don't owe any money for self-employment. I don't make enough money to ever, for the whole 4 years, to be owing the DWP any money. So it's a formality, right? They know that I don't owe the money. They've always known I'm self-employed. I showed you proof on this channel, if you watch the proof, of the fact I put it in my journal, and I declared I was self-employed. It was one of the agents that took me off self-employment, but I still gave my PayPal, I still gave my bank statements, anything they asked about my self-employment, including for my review last year. So I've been completely honest. I've done no criminal activity, as someone suggested, well, you should, and I always report my figures to HMRC every year, but this is Universal Credit, which they're on a different system. So anyway, I have to translate all my income expenses reports into their cash basis system, going from the 22nd to the 21st of the next month, which is not how my system works. I do traditional accounting, and it's from the first to the last date of the month. So that's what I do. And it's just, and this last year, this 2024 to 2025, I hadn't actually got all the paperwork together because I moved, and then I've had all the problems in here, and I could go on, right? And then after the problems in here were mostly sorted, then I had a virus for 2 weeks. Then I ended up in A&E, if you remember, with chest pains for 13 hours and in A&E for over 12 hours. So, and then there's all this stuff started with Universal Credit and PIP. Even when I was going to the hospital, they messaged me saying I had an interview. And so it's just been like one thing after another. So I've basically hardly had time to relax here for like 6 months now. But this last 4 weeks, they've been so intense, because I have like a Universal Credit interview that I had to prepare for. Then I had to prepare for PIP for the following week and send 3 more lots of evidence off to them. And then I had a PIP review and another Universal Credit review in the same week. The Universal Credit was with a self-employment specialist, and that's when she discovered it was an agent that removed me from my self-employment status in 2021. No apology. It was just like, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. You've got to produce these income expenses reports. And she told me I couldn't extend the deadline, but the deadline has already passed, the original deadline, and I have managed to get 2 extensions, thank God, because I do have disabilities. It's a lot harder for me to concentrate because I've got fibromyalgia and anxiety, plus all the other conditions, like recovering from a spine injury and back and foot injury. I'm still seeing a physiotherapist for that. So I'm still meant to be doing physio exercises. And I've been referred to the pain management team now. So I got this letter, which I can't show you everything. I'll swivel it around so you can see what's going on. This was the letter I had from Personal Independent Payment, saying, I have looked at your claim and decided I cannot award you personal independent payment. And, it's just really, really, really bad. So I realised this is not the decision you were hoping for. That's an understatement. But it's really weird, because a few days before then, they were saying that I got a letter as well, dated the 19th of March, saying how much they were going to pay me. So it's really stupid. And anyway, I had to be referred to the pain management team, my physio, because my pain is very bad and it's hard to manage it. Oh, I can't show you that, everything. It's got personal identifiable information in there, which I can't show you. But I'm going to switch you back to me. So I've got to be careful, because I think, did it have my address on it? I think one of them did. But, luckily, didn't have my address on it. But anyway, the other one I hid, so that's okay. So but basically I had to fill all this questionnaire in last night, and it took me over 8 hours. I was doing it from 9 p.m. last night to like 5 a.m. this morning, and it was just like, listing what help I need and what causes my pain to be worse, like housework, shopping, crouching down, bending, washing up, cooking, exercises, heavy lifting, losing my PIP, trauma, past and present, anything negative, environment, news and TV that I don't watch, being indoors too much, being financially insecure, not having time to do the things I love and enjoy, mindset, little hope, lack of help and support, having to do 4 years worth of reports for Universal Credit. It's just a nightmare, But so not doing exercises makes my thyroid pain less, but my back pain worse. That's the problem. So now I've got two conditions that oppose each other. Three conditions actually. Osteopenia, which I haven't got any of the markers for. I'm under 50. I haven't been through menopause yet. I don't smoke, don't drink, don't have caffeine that reduce bone density. No history of osteopenia or osteoporosis in my family. Vitamin D levels and calcium were fine at the blood test. So it's only the DEXA scan that showed I have low bone density than normal. That's basically I'm more susceptible to fracturing bones in my body. So yeah, it's really bad. But basically, for the osteopenia to build bone density, you need to do strength training and weightlifting. So a lot of exercise. But exercise makes my fibromyalgia pain worse. So I'm doing trying to do the exercises to do, I'm trying to do the exercises to improve my back, so it's not in so much pain, because it's to strengthen the muscles and the spine and everything. And I'm trying to do that. But then what happens is then I get too exhausted because it causes a lot of pain with my fibromyalgia. And then I stop doing them because it's like too exhausting to get anything else done. And when I've got to do this universal credit stuff, and also I do have to peel my PIP, and I had to fill in all this pain management stuff, then obviously it's, I can't give my energy to that, to exercise. But exercise is good to do for two of my health conditions. So anyway, it took me ages to do all that. And they, pain management team, they ask you questions like, what makes your pain better? And then all this type of stuff, and what makes it worse, and all stuff like this, so yeah. And obviously she has no one to talk to. Actually, that's not true. I have a best friend who but there you go. And you're on my channel because I share my own asexual life journey in order to help others. So if you're not interested in what I have to say, then why even be on my channel, So yeah, some people like this because other people are going through it, There's other people in the UK that are literally going through this right now. I'm in a group for personal and dependent payment disability benefits, and there's a lot of people in there that one person in my asexual group actually recommended it because they're having to go through a tribunal for the PIP, to go, because you have to go to a tribunal if your appeal doesn't work. And so he's going through that, and so he recommended a group. I can't obviously share personal details about the person, but so I had to fill all this in, and people should care about people with disabilities. People should care, people should care a lot about people with disabilities. People should care that people have got mental health difficulties and physical disabilities, We're all in the same world, and people should care. I worked for loads of years of my life. I worked in retail management for years of my life. As soon as I left college, it's not like I've done no work. I'm always helping people on this channel, and helping asexuals. But a lot of the stuff I do for asexuals is free. That's a problem. I don't get money coming in. I be using my own money a lot of the time to fund some of my stuff, like my website stuff. You know what I mean? And software and things like that. I spent a lot of money on software just to create some shorter videos from my longer videos like this one, for this channel specifically. And I had to pay more as well for the software if I want to do it across other channels, So Highly, it's nice to see you. Lots of love. So, it's a lot, you know what I mean? So I pay a lot of my own money out to help asexuals, but obviously I don't have the money anymore. So at the moment, I've got a bit of savings that I'm using to put towards my food and to make up the deficit, because my rent, I don't get paid all my rent by Universal Credit. I have to make up a lot of that. £140 a month has to come out of my own money I'm not getting anymore. So do you know what I mean? It's a lot. And, it's a lot of extra money, because I moved here because I was going to be made homeless because the last landlord said he was going to sell. So if I appeal my PIP and I don't win that appeal, which I might not because they've given me 0 points on a lot of it, then it means I'll have to go to a tribunal, which can take up to 6 months at the moment, especially in the UK. and I'll be forced to move because I can't afford to stay here because the rent's much higher than my last place. It's like £100 more than my previous place I was in. And so it's really difficult. Council tax is higher because I live in a 2-bedroom flat. I didn't need a 2-bedroom, but they don't have any 1-bedrooms available. So I messaged my letting agency to ask if they've got any 1-bedroom flats in either of the blocks I'm in, because I really like to stay here now. The neighbours are really nice and it fits my stuff in. I want to stay in that flat specifically, to be honest, because it's very suitable for my disability needs. Apart from all the stairs I have to climb up and down, that's a nightmare. But that's why I don't go out very often either. But you know what I mean? It's really challenging because I'm constantly doing work, and I'm constantly doing work, and it's like this is more hours than someone would work in an actual job. What I'm doing at the moment, and the fact that they expect me to just do it like that is just ridiculous. Like I was earning tiny little bits of money, like little bits here and there, even a sticker of 1p, for example, I've had in the past. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot harder when you're not earning big sums of money, when you're only earning tiny little bits here and there, because it's all got to be counted for, even if it's a tiny bit, even if you're not in profit. It's all got to be counted for, and then my expenses are more, so it's just nightmare, and there's a lot more transactions that I have to do because of my situation. So I thought I'd update you because I was going to tell you how I'm surviving this, because I have to be very, very strong in my mindset because it is quite terrifying. I can't afford to stay here as things are because my money, the bit of money I've got in my savings won't last forever. It's already going down fast. And it's horrible. It's horrible to have something that you value for your security just go just like that. It's not fair. What they've written is not even true. Some of it, they haven't even listened in the consultation. They haven't even listened properly to what I said. They've said some things that's completely not even true. So it's very horrible, and I feel sorry for anyone who's going through this at the moment. It's not nice, and I think people some people can be so harsh towards people with disabilities and mental health conditions, but a lot of people have got mental health conditions. Just people don't say about it because they feel ashamed. Why should I feel ashamed? Oh, I have generalized anxiety disorder. I was diagnosed with it in 2010, but I've had pre-birth trauma. I've had anxiety before I was even born. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point in being ashamed about that? Because it's part of who I am and part of my history and part of my present day. Do you know what I mean? I manage it very well quite a lot of the time, but not in certain circumstances. It just, it really is horrendous. And at the moment, I'm having to remain calm. So one of the ways I am surviving, if you like, as opposed to thriving like I'd usually be, is that I'm really all the time I'm coaching myself, be calm, stay calm. Because if I start panicking, I can't get any work done whatsoever. I can't do anything. It's like debilitating for me. If I start panicking and I start, allowing my full anxiety to flourish, if you know what I mean, which was happening in the beginning, I can't do anything. It's too upsetting. It's too panic inducing. So all I have to do all the time, every day, I'm saying to myself, remain calm. Like this all the time, remain calm. Constantly, like being a coach to myself. So it's really important that when you're going through something like this, that you coach yourself. I don't know how to describe it, but I do have a coach. It's a bit like having a higher self. And this coach person just like, even now I'm really tired and I'm talking to you like this, right? It's really hard because I just want to go to sleep. But I have been doing my universal credit stuff for like hours, even though I'm in a state of like needing to sleep, right? You'll even see in my shorts video the other day, I fell asleep at the end of the shorts and I'm like, and start mumbling about Christmas. I'm like, what the hell happened? I kept that in. I could have just deleted it, but I'm like, no, I want you to see how tired I genuinely am. So, and I know I haven't been able to live stream, and I wasn't able to do it. I'm still not able to come live like this usually, but I wanted to update you because I think it's important to share what I'm going through, so you know that I'm not in a good financial state right now. I'm not in a good state in my life right now in terms of like all this stuff that's happening. I mean, it's just shite after shite after shite. Excuse my language. It's relentless. I have never had to be so resilient in all my life and advocate for my needs in all my life as much as I have since I've lived here. So if we're talking about positive things, if you like, one is that I coach myself a lot. And I like I said, I always tell myself, remain calm, remain calm, be calm. It's all right coming from me. Obviously, if someone else was saying that, an outsider, it could be quite patronizing, because it's like calm, It's like, do I feel calm right now? Not really. No, inside I feel like a furnace and feel so angry that they haven't even given me any points for PIP. It's like they're making it the hardest. They're making it. I was going to say they're making it the hardest way possible for me to even get awarded PIP, because usually you have to just get a few more points, and that's all you do. But they've literally put nothing down, which is just ridiculous. You even get usually a point for a microwave, using a microwave. I said that in my consultation. They haven't even given me a point for that. I mean, this is how bad they're being with people with disabilities in the UK at the moment. You know what I mean? It's terrible. And it's just like, it's just horrible. And a lot of people who, unfortunately, a lot of people do discriminate against people with disabilities. So the fact they're trying to push people with disabilities into work situations is just really unfathomable. It's like, what's the point? Because a lot of employers won't even employ people that are not able-bodied alongside another person. I know that's not good. It's discrimination, but I've had discrimination because of my disabilities in a job before. And I know it happens. I know people, like, for example, I used to work in retail. I know they would rather, not everyone, but the majority of people, managers and stuff like that, would rather employ someone who can do the job much faster, depending on the person's disabilities, of course, and condition. They would rather employ someone who can do the job much faster, who doesn't take as much time off from the shop floor, or who doesn't take as much time off sick. That's just the way it is, you know what I mean? And so I think the UK government aren't even taking into consideration the fact that a lot of employers do discriminate against disabled people, and they'll pick the best candidate for a job, and often it's a person that hasn't got disabilities. That's not the case with everyone. I was a manager who took people on with things, that other people probably wouldn't have done. But I was like that. There's a lot of managers that aren't. And I know for a fact when working in retail, I even went for a job in retail, and they say, you knew, because I used to work within the building, but for a different company. I did all the, there was like a in-person, I was going to say an in-person exam, but it was like group work. And this woman got the job and I didn't. And she turned around and said to me, you knew far more than I did in the interview, and you should have got the job. But I know why I didn't, because I've got disabilities, basically. Do you know what I mean? And I know that I'm a lot. They knew about me because I worked in the building. I didn't work for that company. I worked for another one. So they'd known me as well. But she said, you knew far more than me. You should have got the job. But I see, I used to go off the shop floor to go to the toilet a lot, because that's one of the problems with my disability, for example. And things like that, my legs used to shake. So I had to have a stool to sit down on, things like that. And they don't like that in retail. Do you know what I mean? So the place where I worked with inside the store accommodated it, but that's not what the main store did, who was the one interviewing me. So disability discrimination does really happen. And I think the government's absolutely ludicrous if they think that employers are just going to all of a sudden employ loads of disabled people who are inevitably going to go off sick, a lot of them, because they just won't be able to cope with things when their conditions don't allow it. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely ludicrous. But that's the way it goes. But, I'm trying to keep a level head, and I'm trying to stay as calm as possible. I mean, inside, I just think it's not fair what's happening to me. I will acknowledge, you have to acknowledge your pain. You have to be kind and compassionate to yourself. You have to acknowledge your pain, acknowledge the situation, have a cry sometimes. But at the moment, I haven't even got much time to cry anyway. And just, I'm trying to remain as calm as possible, because if I panic, I won't be able to function properly to even get these reports done for universal credit. And you have to prioritise tasks in terms of urgency and time deadlines. But I have to force myself to work hours even though I'm tired, to stay awake for hours even though I'm tired, and really need a break. I can't even have a break for the last 3 days. Today I had less than 4 hours sleep, 3 hours and something sleep. And then yesterday I had just over 4 hours, I think it was. The day before, just over 4 hours, something like that. It's between 12 and 13 hours sleep in like 3 days. So that's why I'm not even on here, not because I don't care, but because I just don't have the time, you know what I mean? And anytime I take out, like now, means that I'm taking time away that I need to get this work done, because I won't get paid. If I don't get paid, I can't stay here. I can't pay my bills. I can't even eat, you know what I mean? But the money from universal credit does pay a substantial amount of my rent, and it does pay for bills and a little bit of food. That's a problem now. I have problems where I can't, I'm having to use my savings that I've got, which isn't a lot, for for food and to pay some bills in the meantime until Universal Credit pay me. So I have to get these reports finished. I've got 11 to do still for them, but I'm still tallying this year's figures in my own system before I do their system, because it's a lot easier if I translate it from mine into theirs rather than the other way around. So I'm on December 2024 at the moment. So I'll nearly be in 2025 with my own system, and then I've got to go back all the way to May 2024 to put everything in their system of figures that they like to have and the way they like to do it. So it's really difficult. So hello to everyone in chat. Sorry if I've not answered your message. It's hard to look at your messages when I'm busy talking and I'm nearly asleep. My eyes, I'm trying to keep myself awake. So let's just take some comments. Lee, it's crazy situation, a very crazy situation. Jonathan, I feel like politics has just given us the illusion of choice. I try to get rid of Tories by voting Labour in a close lab Tory seat, and then you have Labour cutting people's allowances. Yeah, I am really shocked actually. I did vote Labour and I wish I hadn't now. I didn't want to vote Tory anyway, but I'm really shocked because I've always usually supported Labour, and it's like, I mean, I have occasionally voted for other parties, never to the Tories, but I was just shocked. I'm like, what the hell's gone on? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're just taking away people's stability and security, and it's making their conditions worse. There'll be a lot more suicides in the UK. I mean, I'm just trying to keep my mindset as positive as possible, you know what I mean? Because it's hard. Peanut butter or jelly, someone's asking me. I can't eat either unless it's a sugar-free jelly, but thank you for the question. So, yeah, it's really difficult times. So I want to just continue to share what is helping. So coaching myself and telling myself to remain as calm as possible, to bring out the superhero again in me. I don't know if you follow this channel for a while, because I'm otherwise known as Ace Fibro Girl. There is some footage of me from a few years ago with a superhero costume on. And so I have harnessed the power of Ace Fibro Girl within me to be able to do things that most people couldn't do, like stay awake for a very long time. Like the other week, I stayed awake for over 33 hours. That's over a whole day. I didn't get any sleep whatsoever. It was a lot of hours to push through that. And it's hard work doing that. Even at the moment, I'm really tired and been pushing through, you know what I mean? I really just need to go to sleep like right now. But I'm like, I really need to update you on what's been happening, because it's just chaos, my body would explode with that little sleep. Yeah, I even told my therapist today, luckily, because I can survive on little sleep, because I'm a superhero, then, I'm well equipped for this, you know what I mean? But yeah, because I said, really, I feel like collapsing, but I can't collapse it yet because I'm too busy. I haven't got time to collapse, you know what I mean? And I did say, it's superhero power, but I do have the ability to be able to push myself beyond normal limits. My spine's really hurting at the moment because I haven't been doing my back exercises, because literally when I'm not getting much sleep, I've just been straight into doing what I need to do. And you know what I mean? But my spine is hurting quite a lot now because I haven't exercised my back, I think, for 3 days, or 2 days. So anyway, it's starting to really hurt now across the back where I did the injury, broke 2 bones in it basically. So yeah, that's really hard. So I'm going to probably have to go to sleep earlier tonight and then try and do exercise in the morning or whenever I wake up before I get on with this stuff. But I might have to go to sleep, then wake up early and then go. The other day I couldn't sleep. Like I had 4 hours sleep and I was so nervous about the fact that, I've lost all my PIP now, just like that. And, I'm like, what am I going to do? I've got no money coming in, especially until I get these reports done, and I can't stay living here because it's just not feasible for me under these conditions. They've made it as hard as possible for me to appeal, but all I keep telling myself is stay calm and do the next thing, the task, the most urgent, which is the reports for universal credit. Get those finished, and then you can get your basic, well, your main basic needs met, which is the rent and bills. It doesn't even include, I haven't got enough money in that for all the food I need. So that is a huge issue for me. But at least if I have some money coming in, it'll be better than nothing. So I have to focus on the reports first. As soon as that's finished, then I've got to move on to doing the universal credit review, because there's a limit. And guess what? It has to be in just after Easter, which means I've got to get it in before Easter, because of the post won't be happening at Easter. They usually do this. It's really annoying. When I had to get something in before, they put it like on a Monday. But you have to send it in the previous week, because like there's no post, for example, on a Sunday usually, and stuff like that. So it's just really, really hardcore. It's just really, really hardcore. So you have to be compassionate with yourself. You have to be realistic with the situation, but you also have to not panic. And you have to keep telling yourself to remain calm, because in a distressed and panicked state, I'm not fit to do anything, which means I won't be able to get any money, because I won't be able to do these reports. If I don't do these reports, they'll close my whole claim down for universal credit, and I won't have any money, and I won't have any chance of getting any money. And it's just a nightmare. So, I have to do them no matter what. And it's been hard. I mean, doing 4 years worth of reports, these take me hours to do. They're not something that takes me just half an hour like maybe most people can do. I don't have any help with them. I don't have a partner sat at home helping me with them or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? And there's lots of little transactions, and, putting them into different systems, their system, alongside what I've already done, it's just crazy. It gets very confusing, because I've got fibromyalgia anxiety. It makes it hard to concentrate as well. So it's harder to do focus work. So I have to make sure I'm not doing much else when I'm doing this stuff. I do listen to music quite a lot, very high octane energy dance music, Euro dance, 90s stuff. So this is to keep myself awake for long periods of time, sustain my energy levels. So I'm always like high off music. Lee, thank you for updating us. We all have to stick together. Oh, thank you, Lee. Yeah, it's really, really tough situation. It's nice to talk to people about it, it's not nice in the sense that obviously I've had someone rude in my chat and I got rid of them, because if they're just going to be rude to me, my situation's difficult, and so is a lot of people. I don't need people being on my channel rude to me. If they don't like what I'm saying, then they should just go elsewhere. Jonathan, I've got many recommendations for higher octane music. Would they be the same that I like, though, Jonathan? You're welcome to put them in chat if you want. What did you say? CJ Beards is my go-to often, and Pendulum. I don't think I know them. So I mostly listen a lot of the time to Eurodance, and then obviously foreign music. Daddy Yankee's my favourite artist, by the way. He's actually good looking for what I would call an older guy, because I'm not into older looking guys. But I actually think he's really good looking. Probably kissable, but I don't like many older guys. Do you know what I mean? I don't find them attractive usually, as you know, because I like younger guys. So it's just horrible. How heartless our government. Yeah, they are very heartless. Do you know what I mean? They don't live in the real world. They honestly don't live in the world. The government do not live in the real world. Do you know what I mean? It's like people who have got disabilities, most of them won't even be able to get an employed job. Like I couldn't even get an employed job because of my disabilities from 2017 to the year 2000. So for 3 years, because when I was honest about my disabilities, which you have to be unless you want to get sacked, because by law, if you don't tell people about your disabilities and health conditions up front, they can just get rid of you very easily because you didn't say that. So you've gone for the job under false pretenses, then they can just get rid of you so much easily. So if you're honest, like I am, and how it affects you and your limits, then a lot of the time the jobs weren't suitable for me, because they want someone who can do the job in the quickest time, stand up for the longest time, and be able to lift things up and down stairs and all this type of thing. And it's just, you know what I mean? I went for lots of jobs in like 3 years, but I can get anything because of my disabilities, because I was honest. But I've got more disabilities and health conditions I had back then. So, and yeah, on some good days, it's really good, but I haven't had any or many good days recently with my health. Today is EID in Bangladesh. Oh, sending prayer for may God bless you with good things. Oh, yes, happy EID. Actually, I thought some of my friends have said it was yesterday, but I don't know if they're in a different time zone or something. So yeah, one of them was in the UK, I think. So yes, they've been with their family this weekend. So, but maybe I got mistaken. They were saying it was today, but because I've not had much sleep, that's the only thing with not having much sleep. All the days and nights that you're not actually sleeping blur into one because you're like not sure which day it is you even did something on, because it's like you're not going to sleep, so it's like your day is continuous. Do you know what I mean? For hours, and if you're barely getting any sleep, you don't know really what's happening so much. But that's why I tend to limit my energy as well. So when I'm in this type of situation, I'll limit my energy, because when I do these live streams, it does take a lot of energy and focus to think about what I'm saying, plus try to look at the chat some of the time, plus try to look at the camera, because people don't want to see me looking down all the time at chat. And on the phone, it's down. The chat is down there, you know what I mean? So if I'm looking down, it doesn't look very good because I can't look up and see you face to face and eye to eye, if you know what I mean. So there is a lot of focus required to do this. And I got to be careful I don't start falling asleep in the middle of the stream. So, I'm trying to keep a level head. I'm trying to understand. I've done this before in terms of moving home. I've now moved home twice in the last 2 years. So if I need to move home again, it's not like that's new to me, but I don't have as much money for moving home now as well, which is an issue. And at the moment, there's nowhere to move to. The majority of accommodation in my city is in fact student accommodation. I've already been looking. It's student accommodation or more expensive than I even pay here. So, you know what I mean? I can't move somewhere else unless it's much cheaper than here, really. Otherwise, it's not going to make any difference. I need something like that's 100 to 150 pounds cheaper than here per month. Do you know what I mean? So, but at the moment, most of them are like more like 125 pounds plus more than here a month. So, you know what I mean? It's not feasible. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I really don't. But I'm trying to take one step at a time, get the universal credit reports done, finished as soon as possible, out the way. Then the next stage will be working on the PIP appeal, doing everything I can for that. And then if they deny that, then it will go to a tribunal stage, but that can take up to 6 months, especially in the UK at the moment. There's a waiting list for 6 months, probably because of all the problems that's going on, And so this is not good. So I won't be able to stay here in that time. It won't be sustainable for me. I mean, I did injure my foot, and I have my foot in 2023. I had an injury to the left foot. I can't give you the details for confidentiality reasons, legal reasons, but I have got a solicitor for that. That's all I'll tell you. And if I get some compensation for that, that will help a bit. They have suggested that I might get some compensation for that. It's not that much. It's a lot less than I thought it would be. But if I got that, it would really help. And that's been an ongoing case since 2023. I can't divulge the information. You're not allowed to legally. You can't say who the person or company was. You can't say, what happened. You're not allowed to, because if I do win any compensation, I have to sign a document to say I won't tell anyone. So I won't even be able to say on this channel if I get it. I don't think, because usually there's a clause that says you can't even say you've got compensation. I think. Depends what the agreement is, but you definitely can't say anything about it, because you're not allowed to say anything against the defendant if they agree to give you some money. You have to be sworn to secrecy forever for the rest of your life, and you can't say it. But if I did get it, was only a bit, not as much as I want, but it would help me right now. And there's been suggestions that I might get some compensation from the defendant a little bit, but they haven't got back to me. That was about a week ago, I think now. The solicitor approached me about that latest update, but yeah. but also they wanted me to take a photograph of something, which again I can't talk about, but it's changed at the moment. It's to do with the injury. That's all I can say. But it's changed over, because this was over a year ago now, and also it's changed in the last few months. It's actually my injuries recovered more in the last few months, which is good. So I've injured the left foot in 2023 and the right foot last year. So, and then the spine in between the 2 years. Would you be able to do tech jobs, as those mostly don't involve lifting or anything like that? I can't do website coding. I go to Tech Exeter, but I'm not a coder at all, so I can't code websites. I can't do anything like that. Usually you need to be a coder and have a degree in it. So there's people in Tech Exeter, the majority are coders, but I use tech for my business, right? Business technically. So I use social media auto posting tools. So when I do this live stream here, I have an automated system that takes this video and pops it on my social media pages. For example, my Asexualise pages on Facebook. That's how I use the software. And also I use the software lately to cut some of these longer videos into shorter videos. So that's how I use tech. So yeah, so that's why I go there. And I love tech, but I can't code. I can't code anything. I can't do a line of code, build websites without coding, but it takes me hours and days sometimes. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not, these people have got professional degrees. They're literally gone to uni to code. Nearly all of them are coders. So I love code language. I find it very attractive talking about coding, even though I can't do it, particularly if Indian guys are talking about, obviously, but I just find the whole thing fascinating and attractive, talking about coding, even though I can't do it. So I'm sure that it's possible to find tech jobs where you can learn on the job. I don't think my disabilities would be up to that. I mean, literally, this is taking me all my time, energy, and effort just to be doing what I'm doing for these reports. Do you know what I mean? It's taking me hours. This would normally take someone probably half an hour to an hour, where it's taking me 3 hours to do a report, between 1.5 and 3 hours. They're probably able to do it in 30 minutes to an hour max. Like everything takes me like much, 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 much longer because of my conditions. And I have a problem with concentration, even with driving. I haven't said I don't drive because I had a problem with concentration when I was 17 years old. I couldn't drive. So, do you know what I mean? There isn't, yeah. I mean, tech jobs usually you need qualification for, because obviously if they've got a person who's got a degree, yeah, they've got me who's got no degree and can't code. Who do you think they're going to choose? If they want a website that they can build it anyhow they want. It's not really my passion and either. So, but it takes me a long time to do a website. And also there was something wrong with the one I did, my sandrabellamy.com one that I did. I don't know if you saw the shorts video. I went on there and because I can't code, I had to use a plugin. And the plugin removed itself. I don't know what it did. Actually, I'll put that on my other channel. I didn't put that on this channel. I Make Money Make Cash, because I do Make Money Make Cash channel about, how to make money using marketplaces and stuff like that. And which I used to use a lot when I was like on job seekers allowance to top up money for food. So I'll probably have to start selling some stuff again. But you can't, if you sell a few personal items like via Facebook Marketplace or Vinted, that's fine. But if you do a lot of stuff like in bulk, then obviously if it's a job, then you have to put down self-employment stuff. So you've got to be careful what you do. But if you sell just a few pre-loved items now and again, it's fine. So I'll probably have to try and do some of that, selling a few items as well. But it can take a while to sell depending on which platform you use, and it's not a ton of money either. So it's very time consuming as well, which obviously I can't be doing that at the moment because I've got to focus on getting the main universal credit thing in. But yeah, I got a problem with my concentration. So when I was 17 years old, between 17 and 19, my parents paid for a lot of driving lessons. I don't really share this story on here, but I may as well. And so, it took me 32 to just be able to control the clutch. 32 lessons, right? And in the end, I had 96 lessons and wasn't even close to taking a test. And they said, you've got a problem with your concentration and you need to leave it for a couple of years. So when I was 17, I had problems with concentration. I went back when I was 19 to try again. And they just like, you got a problem with your concentration. I wasn't even good at junctions either. I thought, this is too dangerous. I don't even like driving. It's horrible. Jonathan, I did driving lessons until someone near ended me during a lesson. Any lesson since I was thankful I got home in one piece. Oh my God, I'm glad you did as well. Yeah, I had no good things about driving. I just couldn't get the clutch control. I ended up being on top of the T junction, not knowing what's happening. It was dangerous for me to be on the road, to be honest, I think, especially when you can't concentrate, you know what I mean? So I had a problem even back then, but I've always had anxiety. I've only been diagnosed with the condition as GAD since 2010, but even years ago it says chronic anxiety on my medical records. That's going back a lot of years from when I was like at school. I think was it secondary school or, oh no, it was college, I think, or 2 years after I left college. I'm trying to think now when it was, what year it was. I think it was when I left. I think it was when I left college. I'd stayed on an extra year at college. So I was at college from 17 to 19 in birth certificate age. And I think it was 2 years, actually, I think it was 2 years after that. Yeah, I think it was 2 years after that. So, Jonathan, I was okay at the mechanics, but I found extreme difficulty with reading the road and planning ahead all in real time. Yeah, I had a problem when I was driving, dealing with people, oncoming traffic, dealing with road symbols. For me, it was awful. I would be on top of the road symbol trying to read it, and then I'm not looking ahead of me or what's coming either side of me. It's so dangerous. I'm just not doing this. And I tried moped lessons, and I don't know if you know, oh God, I don't know if you know that I tried moped lessons. I don't really talk about this either, and I injured myself badly on that. I literally never went back again. So I went for moped lessons, and I ended up under the front wheel of a parked car, under the actual wheel at a T-junction. So I had to pick myself up and the bike or the moped off me, and the instructor wasn't even behind me. He was off with the other person on the moped in front of me, and that person was competent. It was my first time out on the road, and it was really bad. And so literally, I had to pick the whole moped up because I was in the middle of a road, a T junction, in a built up area, like a bit like a cul-de-sac, but not a cul-de-sac because obviously there's usually nowhere out of a cul-de-sac, isn't it? It's a T junction. I think that's right. There's not anywhere out of a cul-de-sac, is there? Because it like has houses at the end, whereas this didn't. It was a T junction. But after I picked the moped up, it was really weird. It was so surreal. It's like these people came out their house and went straight in the car and started driving it. It was really bizarre. Yeah. So Lee says I can't process multiple stuff quickly. Yeah, I find it's really difficult. Don't get you started on mirrors. Yeah, I find it really difficult to process things like that. I can obviously, like when I'm doing my work at the moment, I'm having to really focus on what I'm doing. So I have the music, but sometimes, like the other day, I actually was in silence because I was, if the music's wrong, then it can actually send me to sleep. And also, if the music just isn't quite right for my mood or something, in terms of keeping myself awake, then it's not going to be much good to me. So the other day I did actually have silence. I was working in silence, which I don't usually do, but I actually need to do focused work. So it's really hard for my anxiety and fibromyalgia to be able to do focused, concentrated work. It's very difficult. I have to really push myself. That's why I usually procrastinate over my accounts. It's the worst thing. It's absolutely the worst thing doing these figures. I'm not great with figures. I mean, I'm good enough to obviously do my accounts, but it's only income and expenses, like what's coming in and what's going out. It's not rocket science, but it's just like little bits of stuff here and there. And moving twice meant I've got different lots of figures because I put a proportion of my rent and council tax and stuff like that, which I actually pay out of my own money at the moment. But I do put a proportion still down as a business expense because I've always had it set up like that. And because I don't do any set hours, I can't go by the hours, so I do a proportion of square footage of the actual office scenario, and then I have to use that percentage for like work out council tax percentage for business and rent and stuff like that. But because I moved twice, that means changing all the figures over, and then I had to change phone companies, so that changed the figure as well because I had to adjust it. And then when I changed phone companies, I actually changed to a different package the next month. And all these things just mean that there's all nuances. So there's no 2 months ever the same. when I spoke to self-employment, she's like, oh, well, you'll have the woman. She's like, oh, well, you'll have things that are exactly the same each month. I'm like, haven't got much of those, to be honest, because it just fluctuates. Even council tax can fluctuate by a few pence each month, or certainly for some months. Do you know what I mean? There are some things like once you're settled on a rent, that unless it goes up, which it usually does, then then that's kind of okay. But it's like even when I moved, I did pay 6 months rent up front for this place. So yeah, at the time I had the money for that. So it's really hard, But like I said, I'm trying to just take things one step at a time. As Frozen 2 would say, sometimes you just got to do the next right thing. I don't know if you remember that from the movie Frozen 2. It's really important information in your life. So all you have to do is the next right thing, which means, you just have to put one foot in front of the other and think, what is the most urgent task I need to do right now? What is the next thing that's going to help me progress the most? What is the thing that I need to get done? I'll be so relieved. I mean, I literally will be so relieved when I got these income expenses reports. I mean, I've been working on it. What is this, the 3rd week now, or 2.5 weeks, something like that? But it's intense. But I've had other stuff in between, like when I had another leak in this flat the other day, it's like the workman's here for a proportion of the day. Do you know what I mean? It's disruptive because he had to pull the floorboards up and stuff. So this isn't. I haven't seen Frozen, says Jonathan. All right, there's Frozen 1 and Frozen 2, but in Frozen 2, one of the main characters, she says, because her sister's meant to be, well, I don't know if I should spoil it for people. Spoiler alert, her sister's meant to be dead at one point in the movie, right? And she's like crying and stuff, and then something happens where she has like an epiphany, and it's all about, I can't remember if it's a spirit that talks to her or something. And all you've got to do is like do the next right thing, because if it's too much, if it's too overwhelming, the situation, which I think is really important piece of knowledge and advice in life, if a situation is too overwhelming, obviously it's good to break it down to smaller, more manageable chunks, as in I'm working on 1 month at a time. So if I do a month and then I succeed, I'm like, great, I've done 1 month. Can I do the next month, or just a bit of the next month? But sometimes I can only do a month. Sometimes I might do part of a month. But a lot of the time I'm able to do at least 8 months. So, but then it's like, can I do another and another? But you have to do one thing first, because if you don't start, you'll never actually get it done. But I have a lot of relentless attitude in me. So I have a relentless attitude and determination to get this done. I mean, just imagine being in my shoes where you get told you've got to produce 4 years of income expenses going back to 2021. And even if you have the paperwork, you don't necessarily know what you did years ago in 2021. And you've got to trace it, and you've got to do it. Whereas I report it for HMRC, and I do my figures. So it's the 1st of the month to the 31st. But I have to do it from the 22nd of one month to the 21st of another. And if your brain's like mine, it doesn't quite get new information very easily. I'm very good with information and knowledge that I know and that I have a good foundation of. But with new information, things that are new to me, new ways of doing things that I'm not used to doing, my brain just doesn't naturally go there. It takes ages for it to understand. I have to keep repeating to myself, you're looking for the 22nd of the month, Sandra, and you've got to start on the 22nd. But you haven't got to start on your 22nd of invoices. You've got to start on the 22nd of your bank statements. Because unlike you that does traditional accounting, which takes the invoice date, cash basis that the DWP Universal Credit one is the physical in and outs of your bank on that day. So I might be invoiced on the 20th, for example, for a book I sold on Amazon, but it doesn't actually go in my bank account to the 29th technically. Well, that's a payment date, but I can't put the payment date down. I have to put the date that it actually is in my bank, because even though a payment date might be the 29th, it might not have processed till the 30th or the 31st. So then I'd have to take that date. So my mind has got to go from, hang on a minute, I put this down as a 20th on my own accounting, but I can't do that. My brain then goes to, oh, it's the 29th because that's a payment date. And then I have to go, no, what's this statement say? And is it even in this month, or has it accidentally gone into the next month? If so, you can't include these figures for what the DWP want. Or you can include it in the same lot because they go on to the 21st, luckily. So even if I have it sold on paid, for the sale on the on, say, it was meant to be paid on the 29th, but it goes into the 1st of next month. I can actually do it on their system because it goes from the 22nd to the 21st. But you know what I mean? But anything, say I get an invoice on the 20th for a book that I've sold, but I'm not paid it till the 29th or 30th. I can't actually put it through on that month. That's got to go on the next month. And I can see that people are even turning off from listening to this because it's that monotonous and tedious and boring to even talk about. Do you know what I mean? Jonathan, yeah, that would not take me 30 minutes. That would be days to go through. Exactly. And it is actually days. Lee, best not to discuss that aspect anymore. Yeah, I know. But I wanted to explain to people how difficult it is. And, you know, because people just seem to think, well, it's easy. Why don't you just, like, you know, do it? I even had someone suggest do micro accounting. I'm like, I can't do that for what Universal Credit want, you know? And I think it's really important to understand how their process compares to how my process is and how my brain works. Because my brain, I can't force my brain to just get it. My brain has to go through a series of logical steps. My brain's quite logical. And it has to go through, is it this? No. Is it that? No. Is it this? You know, and it goes around this. So I think when you're doing any task, especially if you find it hard to concentrate, you have to break it down into smaller chunks. You have to praise yourself. Like, oh, I finished a month. Oh my God, 1 month down. Yes, yes, yes. You know, that's really good. And then, you know, every time you do something right, it's great. But I do make mistakes and I have to go back and do it. I left a big thing out because I paid 6 months rent up front for this place. And I'm like, oh, sugar, I left the whole sum out. I completely forgot because I paid by unusual ways, not my normal ways. It was in a special account. It's not something I have access to usually, so it wasn't in my normal paperwork. Jonathan, I wish there was something I could do to help. Oh, thank you. Mark and Jenny here from the UK. Oh, hello, Mark and Jenny. It's nice to see you. You know, how are you holding up? You know, with the UK government things that are going on at the moment, it's quite tough, isn't it? So, yeah, so, you know, give yourself some praise if you are in this situation. You're having to bust through it, you know. This is tough times for me, I'm not going to lie. And I think it's good to be aware of your situation, good to acknowledge tough times, good to understand it's really hard on the body and the mind and the soul going through stuff like this. And also understand that, you know, this is not my fault. You know, this is not like the universal credit thing's definitely not my fault. It's an admin error their end. And, you know, the PIP is not my fault. I mean, I've got worse conditions than I had before. So, you know what I mean? It's difficult situation to be in, but I have to be resilient and stay strong. And I have to say, even since moving here, my resilience level has gone very, very high. So I am a lot more resilient. Like, my mind's been really not good. But lately I've been thinking, well, sod it. I just keep thinking about being resilient and strong because at the end of the day, I am really resilient to keep getting through all this stuff. I mean, it's just one thing after the other, literally for 6 months, pretty much. Since the 23rd of October when I moved here. And we're now like, past the 23rd of March. So yeah, it's 6 months, people. 6 months of more trauma and difficult times. But I'm like, oh my God, you're getting through it, Sandra. You're busting through this stuff. And you're very resilient and stuff. Jenny is a nurse and I am a suicide negotiator and work with the police and mental health doctors. Oh, right, okay. That's very interesting. I have never heard of a suicide negotiator before. By the way, if anyone's feeling suicidal, please call the Samaritans or get some professional help, okay? I just wanted to let you know that. I'm not a medical practitioner. So yeah, please do that. It's important. I have said though that I think more people are going to be thinking about suicide because of what the government's doing to people with disabilities. My mind has had bad moments. But at the moment I'm like, you know, like, I'm like now, I'm just like resilient mindset. Like my resilience mindset's kicked in a lot. And I'm like, okay, like be resilient, be strong. You've had to move before, you'll have to move again. But it was under different circumstances, you know, when I had money, situation was better. So, you know, it's it's hard. And I think it's important to acknowledge the tough times in life, because if you don't acknowledge your own pain, you suppress and repress it, which can actually make physical and mental health conditions much worse. So I think you have to, like, go through it. You find out who your true friends are as well. You find out who is actually messaging you to check, are you all right? Try not to offer any help they can possibly help, even if it's just like saying, I'm sorry you're going through this. It's really important. Um, but your wording's very important, right? So if you've got someone who's having a difficult if you've got someone who's having a difficult time, it's good to say stuff like, I'm sorry you're going through this, rather than just say you'll be okay. It's not actually very helpful, because at the moment I don't feel okay. I really don't feel okay, right? But luckily my mindset of being resilient and strong's kicked in, and I have to keep thinking this is temporary, it's not going to be forever. And I keep playing different scenarios in my head, like, what happens if you're homeless? What happens if you're homeless and on the streets and there's druggy people and there's people trying to beat you up because you've lost your home, because you haven't got any money coming in and you can't get disability benefits, and my brain starts going like that. And then I'm like, don't go there, Sandra. I'm like, well, I couldn't even do this channel if I don't have internet access. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not good. So I'm just like, okay, just don't think about that right now, because it's no point, because hopefully you won't be in that situation and scenario, because I've got nowhere else to move to if I don't find someone else to move to, and I can't stay here. That's a problem. Do you know what I mean? So Martin says this government has a lot to answer to. It does. It's really bad. I mean, they're fundamentally taking people's basic needs away, and their security and their safety. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I don't like being on the benefits from the point of view as I know it's not safe and secure, because I know it just at a drop of a hat they can do what they've done. But it's not nice doing that. But I have really bad trauma from being in my last job. I developed CPTSD symptoms, which I can't go into that either for legal reasons. But it really, I really was horrendous. But I can't talk about all that for legal reasons. But that's all I'm going to say about it. But it was horrendous. So it even makes me feel like I can't work anyway, just from that one thing happening, let alone all my other conditions. So, it's called the Great Reset times, only going to get harder. So yeah, I don't want to think about going to get harder, because it's been getting harder. Do you know what I mean? For me, since I've moved here, because of all the problems I've actually had in the flat in and of itself. But I actually like living here now. The irony is, for over 3 months I had problems in this flat, and if you didn't catch what I said earlier, I mean, it's extreme problems, like, a gas leak, electrics blowing up, literally, flame going up and singeing the engineer's hair and stuff like that, which could have killed both me and him, and carbon monoxide leaks. These aren't little things, you know what I mean? These have made me feel unsafe in this home. And for a lot of the time, I'm like, I really want to move. I don't even want to be here. But as these things have settled down, the letting agency did give me some compensation in the end that I really, which is, like, that's gone now. Well, actually, I think I've still got a bit of it left for my savings, which I'm but yeah, so it's been difficult, being here, and I've wanted to move for a long time, in terms of, like, I felt it's really not a good environment for me to be in. It's unsafe. But now I've got the new boiler, and a lot of the problems have gone, although I had another leak recently, as I mentioned. I felt like much better in here. I've been trying to plant better memories in, and trying to get my mindset. And now I see a lot of the benefits of being here, like the kind neighbours. I've had people that have helped me up with the stairs with my shopping trolley, for example, because I use a shopping trolley all the time to shop with because of my disabilities, and I have to go upstairs. So I have to go up 37 steps, and no, I don't like doing that, and no, I don't do it. I stay indoors a lot, so you don't even have to go down the stairs, because it's hard on my body. But I was going to be homeless from the last place if I didn't find somewhere to live, and this was the best place to live. And even that was up the stairs anyway. I tend to end up on the top of places, but I like it from the point of view it's more tucked out the way. I've got less people around me, and I prefer things that way. Actually, it's more freedom, I think. So, but there's a lot of benefits in terms of, like, the neighbours are really kind. When I went to hospital for A&E, there was a guy who was one of my neighbours here, neighbour as in a neighbouring flat, and he literally waited till the taxi came because he was really worried about me. So I'm not going to leave you on your own. I'm going to make sure he flagged down the taxi to make sure it's the right one, because my first taxi never turned up. They were like, oh, we can't find the place. And I was really poorly at the time with chest pains, which eventually they found out was pulled muscle in my chest from all the exercise I've been trying to do to get my back better. So it has a knock-on effect, you see. This is how all my how my disabilities and health conditions all interact with each other. Like, I do one thing and then I injure myself again, then I can't do exercise and my body gets out of shape, but then my pain starts in my back again. I do exercise, my fibromyalgia pain hurts, and then it just gets in a vicious cycle of pain, and then I have to manage my time wisely by not doing much housework, for example, not even taking the rubbish down the stairs and building rubbish bags up in my flat. And all this type of stuff that I don't usually talk about on this channel much, because who wants to talk about rubbish bags? But there we go. This is the reality of my situation, And I have to be wise as to what I spend my time and energy on, because I have less of it with the fibromyalgia condition and the exercise that makes the pain worse. But I need to do exercise now for my back injury and the osteopenia. It's just a vicious cycle of pain and energy draining, basically. So it's hard. But I'm not here to oh, woe is me, and there's no one else going through tough times. There are people that are going through much tougher times than I am. I'm still here, I'm still alive, and I'm still in my own flat at the moment, and I still have a bit of savings that I'm using. So it's not like I'm completely in dire straits right now. But obviously, if I don't get my appeal, win my appeal, which at the moment it's looking, by the guy's attitude who's done my PIP review, by his attitude, it's going to be really hard for him to change his mind. That's going to be like the tribunal stage would be like 6 months down the line after I've got my appeal in, and after he's possibly not going to let it happen. I mean, I'm going to do my best to win the appeal, but to go from 0 points to just getting something is going to be really tough. I'm up for it though, because I've got nothing to lose. The thing is when you're really down and you're at your worst, you haven't got much to lose. You've only got up, really, or continuous pain. But I'm getting used to being in pain now. I mean, I'm in physical pain and this stress is really not helping my fibromyalgia pain. My fibromyalgia pain's much, much worse at the moment. Over these last few months, it's worse it's been in a long, long time, because the emotional and mental pain of all the stress I've been going through and feeling unsafe, and then now I feel happy here and I don't want to move, and now I'm going to have to, by the look of it, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of emotional upset pain, which makes the fibromyalgia pain much worse, very debilitating, very lot of pain in my thighs and in my legs and stuff like that, even though I'm sat down at the moment. So it makes it a lot worse. So someone said in chat, my knowledge of England, I think, is not so good. So I barely understand some of the sentences. Oh, right. Okay, your knowledge of English isn't that good. But I get that you're going through bad times. I hope you get better soon, and all of the governments in the West, I think you say, sucks. All right, thank you so much. I'm just reading some comments because I like to interact with you, Jonathan. Anyway, wishing you the best, Sandra. Oh, thank you so much. How Starmer got in is a joke. Yeah, Jenny in the front room feeding the baby. Oh, bless you. So I really appreciate you, Martin, and Jenny. It's lovely to hear from you. I really, really appreciate it. I think it's nice that you've checked into my channel. And yeah, I don't usually post stuff about this type of stuff, but I mean, a lot of people in the UK are going through a lot of difficulties at the moment with benefits, and I think it's important to speak out about it. I mean, I haven't really updated you on this channel, but I only found out about my PIP being no more like on Friday. And so yeah, this is like we're on Monday now, aren't we? So I was like, no, because my mind is not great, because I'm very tired with all this stuff I've got to do. But all this stuff for universal credit and PIP is just making my stress worse, which makes my pain worse. It raises cortisol levels in your body, which is really unhealthy. My cortisol levels are really bad at the moment. Even my physio said it. That's why she's referred me to the pain management team as well. But she says you're in a vicious cycle of pain because you had to move, which was difficult, because moving is very traumatic for anyone, even people that don't have disabilities or mental health conditions. It's very traumatic usually. And then, and then I had all the problems for over 3 months here. Then I ended up with a virus for 2 weeks. Then I ended up in A&E. And then, and then I've been doing, for the last 4 weeks, I've been, more than 4 weeks probably now, I've been doing stuff for Universal Credit and PIP. All the time, pretty much. And she said you can't do any of the things you love either, because I haven't got time. I love being on this channel. I want to be live streaming like I used to. I used to live stream nearly every night that I possibly could. I can't even do that at the moment. I love connecting with you here because I don't go out much, especially. I love talking to my audience here. At the moment, I'm like a recluse and hermit, but I've had to purposely do that to focus on the work because I find it hard to concentrate. So I've had to be in hermit mode. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can't even see my friends. I've had to say to my best friend, I can't see you until after these reports are done because I'm too agitated. And if I stop for even a day doing this stuff, I can't get back into it very easily. It takes me about an hour and a half just to get back into doing what I need to get done with the reports, an hour and a half just to acclimatize myself to getting used to it again. That's how badly disconnected my brain is from doing this stuff. I'm more creative than into figures, That's what type of person I am. So it's just really I think someone's asking me if I looked at Shakti mats or something. No. It sounds like a mushroom. No, I can't even be on like mats. But anyway, I used to be on mats on the floor. I can't do that anymore. But anyway, most of the time I'm sat at my office desk at the moment doing this work. I am constantly doing work. I don't barely have time to even sleep. Like I said, I've had pretty much less than 12 hours. I could have had, between 12 and 13 hours. It's probably more realistic. But I had less than 4 hours sleep. Like last night, about 4 something hours the night before, and 4 something hours the night before that. So you know what I mean? I'm still energetic though in terms of talking to you. But I'm really, really tired. I'll probably go to sleep soon. I wanted to I have got my ace fibro girl mindset at the moment, attitudes, just bust through it. This situation won't be forever. It'll sort itself out one way or the other. I don't know which way it's going to go. And obviously I have to take practical steps to solve the situation myself because, it's not sustainable staying here if I don't win the appeal. So I've got to finish my, like I said, you've got to be systematic with what you do, even if you're in terrible emotional turmoil and even if you're in very bad way with your mind's not great. You have to kind of center yourself in the moment and say, okay, I just want you to focus on this work that's in front of you, namely the reports for me, and I just want you to get through this. That's all I want you to do is get through this stuff. I just want you to get through these reports, finish this, then you can do the PIP appeal, and then they've got about a month, I think, or more to respond to that. That's the thing, if it's for us, we have X amount, a month usually to do stuff, right? So I've got to appeal my PIP, which I've got a month to do it, right? Which I can't do it at the moment straight away anyway, because I'm still doing the reports for Universal Credit, right? Which my payments are suspended until I do that. So that's the most important thing, to do that and lock it down. But it's the 23rd, it's got to be, it says a month, and the date's the 23rd on the March on the letter, which means I'd have to get it in by the 22nd of April to be safe that it's there within the month. But as Easter's just before that, I need to post it before Easter. So really, it's not a month at all. You know what I mean? Because I didn't get the letter till Friday. So that's 5, and it was sent the previous Sunday, or the person dated it the Sunday. And I'm thinking, I don't even think DWP worked on Sunday. They do work Saturdays nowadays, but they don't. I didn't know they worked Sunday. So either they've dated it a weird date that's pre or post dated it, or I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, maybe they do work Sundays now. But I got a text on the Monday saying the letters in the post, it could take up to 2 weeks to even get the letter. I got it on the Friday. But it's just really weirdly worded as well. Let me find the one bit that's really weirdly worded. I highlighted it. Let me see if I can show it to you. I don't know if I've got it. Right, okay. So what did they say? I highlighted it on the other one. I got the photocopy because I was showing my therapist. So they said something about, I looked at the information you provided, the medical evidence provided, and the health professional consultation, which was absolutely horrendous. I mean, it was more like harassment. Report, and changed the descriptors previously chosen based on the medical evidence received. I don't really fully know what that is. So anyway, it says, I ended your PIP award from 23rd of March 2025 because you no longer meet the conditions for PIP, which I would strongly disagree with. And I would not, and I would, this is what gets me. I would not have expected you to know this I expected you to know from the information provided that your PIP would change. Exactly. So if I'm not expected, because I've given them so much evidence, do you know what I mean? Some of it they've said is wrong. What they've said is wrong anyway. But there we go. So yeah, so anyway, this is a bit I've highlighted, see? It says, you know what I mean? I would not have expected you to know from the information provided that your PIP would change. I mean, if they're acknowledging themselves that they wouldn't expect me to think it would change, then why should it change? Because my conditions haven't changed. Actually, I've got more conditions now and more pain. So it's weird. Very, very bizarre. But anyway, so there has to be you have to accept what's happening to you whilst also kind of distracting your mind, because if it gets sucked into the spiral of, oh my God, I'm going to panic, then for me personally, I can't get anything done in a panic mode. Panicking is completely debilitating for me. And so I have to keep reminding myself just to stay calm, to get through the work I need to do systematically. First, the universal credit reports, because they're more time sensitive, then the PIP review, and then I'll have to wait for the appeal. And then when I'm waiting for the appeal, I will have to obviously look more around for accommodation and probably try and sell some of my personal items again online. So, you know what I mean, to declutter, but also see if I can get a little bit of cash for anything. So yeah, and I just have to do things systematically, but obviously I do need to find a place. Luckily, a lot of stuff's still boxed up because I didn't know if I would be staying here because of all the problems I have for over 3 months. I've still got a lot of stuff in boxes, you know what I mean? Tons of them in the second bedroom. But if I move into a smaller flat, which will be what I have to do, then I have so many boxes, because the last place has storage behind the bed and storage under the stairs, and here doesn't have that. So literally all the stuff's piled up in the second bedroom. But the beauty of that is, like I said, there's still lots of stuff in boxes, but I don't usually use a lot of it. There's some of it I would use again, but it's just I haven't needed to use it. There's a sliding door wardrobe that was never erected because I've not had space or time to do that. And so that's still down. There's a chest of drawers. I got 2 chests of drawers, but one of them isn't even finished because I had to paint over. I had a problem with oil. I tried to, there was a problem. I thought I needed to oil the runners. I went to oil the runners, and instead, with WD-40, don't try it, people at home, really don't, because I thought it would make the runners run more smoothly. Instead, the I was going to say DWP because we've been talking about DWP. I mean, the WD-40 went into the wood, and yeah, I know most of the people would go, well, that's obvious it's going to do that, but it wasn't obvious to me because I'm no good at DIY. I don't usually get involved with stuff like that, and I made the decision to do it and try it and sprayed it, and that's what happened. It seeped through loads of things, so I had to paint over it, but I've still got a drawer to finish painting for that. So at the moment, my underwear is in the chest of drawers that I used to use at my old place, but it's in the second bedroom. So I have to go into the second bedroom all the time. But I got so used to doing that, so that I don't really think about it. I just do it now. So yeah. But here's, it's been good because like I was saying, I'm looking at the positives now of being here. And the washer dryer, I bought myself a big washer dryer. Again, if I have to move, I need an unfurnished place because I need to take my furniture with me because I bought quite a lot. Plus, I need, for my health conditions, I need to be able to wash a lot of clothes. So I got a big drum now, washer dryer, which costs me a lot of money. It's a Bosch. And I got a much bigger fridge freezer so that I can stock the fridge freezer up with more food. So that if I can't get out because of my pain, then I've still got food in and more frozen food. I got myself a mini dishwasher because I find washing up horrendous for my pain. So I just won't usually do it for days. And that sounds really bad to most people I know, but that's the way it is. It's a lot of pain because if I have a choice between doing something that's necessary or that I enjoy, I haven't been doing much that I enjoy lately because I've been having to do stuff I don't enjoy. But if I have a choice between doing that or something I really enjoy and I have to decide where to spend my time, energy, and effort, then if it's something I really enjoy that's going to make me feel better in my body, because when I have joyous experiences, my body feels much better and in less pain, then I'll go and do that. But anyway, I've got the mini dishwasher here, which is the first time I've ever been able to fit a dishwasher in any home. So if I have to move again, I might not be able to fit that in here. So, you know what I mean? I've got a robotic hoover as well. So I got things to help me, which is really, really good. So, you know what I mean? It's very, very important. Someone's asked saying to like do my own research on something. I'm not going to be researching stuff when I've got to literally do my work for my to get my rent. So, you know, I really appreciate what you're saying, trying to help me with my pain, but you know, the whole point is that I've got to focus on what's the most important urgent task, and that's not doing research on these things when I need to actually get what I need to get done. Because a lot of my pain at the moment is because I'm stressed out, because I have to get this done because tight deadlines, and I can't even literally. I'm not even usually live stream on this channel at the moment, which I usually love to do, because I have to be in hermit mode to focus on my actual work, so I won't get distracted by researching things that have got nothing to do with my current situation. You know, in terms of urgency, you know, and I know my situation and health condition. So you know, I mean, you have to prioritize when you're in these types of situations and you're really, really stressed. You have to prioritize which is the most important thing. So so it's very, very important that you prioritize what's the most urgent. And you know, I felt a need to reach out to my loyal fans on this channel that have been with me for years and let you know what's going on. It's important you know my situation, because you'll know that when I can't live stream, what's happening. And obviously, you know, my bills pay for the internet for this channel. So if I can't pay for internet, I can't do this channel anymore, which has supported thousands of people for years. So, you know, it's really, really important to me that I gave you an update, because it's been like over 2 weeks, is it? Or 3 weeks, 4 weeks since I live streamed. I know it did one live stream. I think it was a one-off one like this one. So, you know, also it's International Asexuality Day, isn't it, on the 6th of April? So I hope to be doing something, and I will have finished doing the reports by then. Hopefully, that's a good goal to work towards. So we have to give ourselves like goals to work towards. And when we've done something, we have to praise ourselves for doing it and then move on to the next task. It's quite relentless when it's something that you don't enjoy, and it's quite tedious and quite monotonous. You have to kind of praise yourself. Also, I recommend you do take little breaks. If you've got a lot of work to do, you take little tiny breaks. So sometimes when I'm eating my food, because it's important to keep nutrition up as much as possible when you're doing difficult, strenuous stuff, and when you're really stressed out, your body needs nutrition to keep itself going. And in order for me to you know, work through the night, as I've been doing, work for a lot of hours, it requires a lot of extra energy, which is a lot of eating, which obviously, you know, you can put weight on doing that, but you've got to just give yourself some grace, like, which is the most important thing, to fuel yourself up to be doing the work you need to do to keep a roof over your head and food in your belly and pay bills. Or is it better not to do that and worry about your weight? No, it's better to worry about your weight at a later date, if you want to worry about your weight at all, and you know, get what you need to do done, right? And also, like I said, try and have some little breaks, like some food. Where in between, I've been watching something that makes me laugh, it's funny. Phineas and Ferb, I wrote about it on this channel. Not wrote about it, I did a shorts video about it on this channel. So Phineas and Ferb are like a animation on Disney Plus. So while I'm eating my food, I'll put some of that on, because it's light-hearted, it's fun and adventurous, and it kind of just like perks me up a perks me up a bit, you know. And when you have to keep yourself motivated, it's important to do these little things for yourself, these little gestures, to help break the monotony of what you're doing and give you like a refreshing boost. So it's like refreshing your energy. It's like making hot chocolate, says Jenny. This is good. So yeah, so you know, if you like hot chocolate, make yourself a hot chocolate to feel better. So I recommend that you capture and take little moments for yourself in between a really stressful time, when your back's against the wall, when you're up against it, it's good to take little moments for yourself to nourish yourself, to give yourself some nice food and drink, something that just makes you feel good, some treat. Obviously, when you're watching your money more, then you're more limited into what you can eat, right? But it's still important to get as much nutrition as possible, to keep your energy levels up through difficult times. But try and find something that you find humorous, something you find inspiring, something you find enlightening, something you find like which will give you a bit of knowledge. So if I'm over a break, I might watch a little bit of something that's a training course, for example. I might watch a 10-minute something module of a training course. It's like a 10 or 11-minute module. That just makes me feel like I'm doing something productive that's other than the monotony of what I need to get done, and that I've accomplished something else that day by learning something else, if you know what I mean. So I recommend doing this if you can fit just little bits in, little times, short times throughout the day. Because if you just try and do something for hours, which I do anyway a lot of the time, but when you try and do something over and over again, you have to keep yourself motivated. And one of the ways you do that is by injecting a little humour if you can. If you've got no friend to see or you're in hermit mode like I am, then you need to pick something that makes you just laugh a little bit, smile a little bit, have a bit of humour. So then that warms your heart and makes you feel better, and it de-stresses you somewhat and relaxes you more, which means you're more able to be able to get on with your day, do your work, push through the tiredness maybe, or maybe we'll just relax so much. I love positive affirmations. I usually do them every morning, although I didn't do them this morning. I had just over 3 hours and something sleep, so and I got up a bit later to make sure I even got any sleep. So I thought, it's better to just get on with my shower. But when I'm in the shower, I listen to upbeat Disneyland Paris music. So there's a song called Ready to Ride. And when I went to Disneyland Paris, when I had money last year and the year before, then there's a song there called Ready to Ride. And it's all about thinking about your dreams and that it can come true. So it's good to watch optimistic things and not get too bogged down in negative things. I don't usually watch the news because it's very bad for my mind, but I have on YouTube watched a few bits of Parliament because I think it's very relevant to my situation at the moment. But I don't want to get bogged down in watching lots of that because it's very depressing if you watch that, and it makes you feel like quite fearful and scared, and that's not going to really help me now. I need to be not focusing on scarcity or scaredness, even though I do feel scared about my situation, because that's just going to propel the fear and make it worse, and then make me not be able to do what I need to get done to be able to get where I need to go, if you know what I mean. Because I won't be able to get my reports finished unless I can keep my mind as sane as possible and not in panic mode. And also, I need to keep the stress to a minimum. If I'm instilling fear into me on top of already fear that's already there, then that's not going to help me. So I need to install some positive stuff. Now, I've got through bad times before, so I can get through them again. So if you're going through difficult times, it's really important to look for evidence of when you've achieved things before in difficult times, to know that you can do it again and succeed. Because if you've been through really, really rough times before, if you felt really depressed, down, or you've been anxious, or you've been in really difficult situations, like I've faced homelessness twice with 2 previous places, not through my choice, because it was the landlords that were selling up, right? But that's been really bad that I've had to face that. And even the council in the UK couldn't help me. They're like, with your special needs and disabilities, like special health needs and disabilities, they can't even help me, the council. It's too complex for them. This was going back to the previous first time that I was had to move because I was going to be made homeless. This was at the end of 2022. I got the council to help me get the landlord to make it a fair notice period, because he didn't give me a fair notice period, a legal notice period. So they did help me with that. I had a caseworker that helped me, which was really good. But she's like, we can't actually help you with the place because your needs are too specialised for what we can give you. So you're better just looking for something on your own. So I made that like my full-time job, looking for a new property. Obviously, I can't do that at the moment. I've got to do the PIP thing. Then I've got to do the I've got to do the universal credit first, then the PIP. Then I'll have to do the looking for property thing, or trying to sort something out where I currently am. I've asked the letting agency if they've got any 1-bedroom flats in these blocks, and also if they've got anything else as well, because my letting agency does have a lot of properties, but they're usually all student, and they're very much more expensive than the one I've got even here. Which is really expensive for me, but it's not expensive. I mean, it's 2 rooms here, So usually a couple would live here, so they'd have an income both coming in, whereas it's just me. But they didn't have any 1-bedrooms at the time, so I've asked them if there's any 1-bedrooms that they do happen to have coming available or got available now. And if that happened and it was a lot less money, that would help me out tremendously. But a lot of the time there isn't that much difference these days between a 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom. Might be £25 a month, could be £50 a month. That a lot of the time there's not that much difference. They charge very, very similar prices. So it's important to, do the best you can at the time with the tools you've got, and stay as positive as possible and keep moving forward, one foot in front of the other, and just focus on breaking your task down into smaller chunks that you've got to get done, even if you're under duress and you're not feeling great. This is the type of thing that I'm trying to do to help myself, so I thought I'd share it on this channel in case you're struggling. I do have more of a tough mindset now that, okay, right, I've had 6 months of traumatic stuff happen here and 6 months of stress, and I'm like getting more and more used to it now. Rather than resisting it, I'm like, okay, like there's no more resistance there much to it anymore. I'm like, okay, fine. Like, okay, what else is happening? What next stress then? What's the next stress? What's the next thing I have to do? No rest. What's the next thing I have to do? Okay, I can't get any rest. What's the next thing? I really need rest, but I'm like, well, luckily I'm like a superhero, so I can manage on little sleep, luckily. It's a talent of mine, a skill I've honed over the years, which is paying off dividends at the moment. It's obviously it's money dividends, but it's not. It's paying off in being able to do the things I need to get done in multiple ways, because I do still have to get some food shopping for myself and budgeting with money reduction now and stuff like that. So it's really important to do what you can. And if you know that you've got tight deadlines and you've got to get everything done, it's no point in saying do what you can, as in you've got to do everything you need to get done, right? It's very important. So unfortunately, I can't have that much fun at the moment, which is another thing that causes me extra stress. But I think you have to remember in difficult times that it makes you more resilient. It makes you more stronger. In these tough times, it makes me advocate for my needs even more. So I think these are very good skills to have: resilience, strength, advocating for your needs and for yourself, and building the resistance muscles, building the resilience. I'm trying to just think, okay, you've dealt with difficult problems before, you can deal with difficult problems again. I'm trying to tell myself, even though you don't feel okay at the moment, it's important to acknowledge that you will be okay in some way in the future. But my brain's also going, what happens if this scenario happens? What happens if that scenario happens? And then I have to bring it back to present day and thinking, okay, but that hasn't happened yet, and that's not happening right now. So focus on what you do want to happen and all the possibilities that might be good possibilities. So at the moment, I can't think of every other possibility, you know what I mean? Because I have to focus on what I need to get done. So, and another thing is I've been really missing the connection with speaking to you all here. So I thought it was very important today to speak with you direct, because when we're going through a lot of trauma and difficult times, we need to connect with people. It's a human right, if you like. It's a human need to want to connect with other individuals. And as most of the time I spend in my home on my own, and a lot of the time I'm not seeing anyone in person, it's important for my emotional well-being sometimes to connect with you. It's important a lot, actually, so I wish I could connect more on this channel. But I'm like, no, a lot's gone on. You need to update the people on your channel so they know what's happening. And I want you to know that if you're going through tough times as well in the UK at the moment, especially, but wherever you live, obviously, then I do feel for you. I think people who go through tough times are the strongest people, especially if they've got disabilities, mental health conditions, and they are battling with those at the same time as having to get through very, very difficult scenarios. I mean, people without mental health conditions that are fully able-bodied, for example, and not got disabilities, even they would find it hard to cope with some of the things that the people who've got disabilities and mental health conditions at the moment are having to deal with. Do you know what I mean? Even they would find it difficult to cope with. And I do think you build a very resilient muscle after a while, because you keep, you have to keep advocating for your needs all the time, which, you shouldn't have to keep, having to fight just to have your rights heard. But at the end of the day, we don't live in a fair world, unfortunately, and sometimes we do have to do that. So I think it's important to recognize that and just thank God that we have the ability to do that. And some of us are able to do it as much as possible. We are building strength, we are building more resilience, and we are actually an inspiration to other people. I think, I get inspired by people that I see, for example, they've got disabilities and they're still fighting for their rights. They're still going to a tribunal, for example, with DWP, even though it's really tough for them. Or they're still, trying to do some sort of job, some of the people that are in jobs or voluntary work even. Or they're trying to just help a charity, or they're trying to just do a YouTube channel about their difficulties to help other people, for example. There are quite a few people on YouTube, even people who are lonely or depressed, and they actually share their personal story with others to help others feel not alone. And I think that's incredible. I think that's absolutely amazing. Some of these have hundreds of thousands of followers online, and it's because they're relatable. And people want to know, like, how are you getting through this? You're lonely, or you've got no friends, or what have you. How are you coping with this? And sometimes their way of coping is connecting online. I miss connection online. I miss being able to be on this channel talking regularly about my asexual life and what I get up to. So it's just lovely to connect with you in this moment. And I thought I can either choose to carry on my paperwork, which I really partly thought I should be doing, but I'm really tired anyway now, and I thought I need to go to sleep soon. But I thought, no, I will stream and see how I get on, even though I'm really extremely tired at the moment, and see if I can be coherent enough to pull a live stream off, which makes me feel better, makes me feel better. I've seen some of my regulars here, like Jonathan and Lee. I thank you for being here. I've missed you and a lot. So yeah, it's good if you've got friends that support you as well. I use a tool called Matthew AI. It's an AI bot. I'm in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club. I paid for that for a year. So Matthew Hussey is the world's #1 dating and confidence coach on YouTube and in the world. He's got 17 years of experience. So being in his club means to get access to courses and coaching usually every week. I have made sure I go to those coaching sessions usually, even though I've had a lot of other stuff going on, because they're very important for my learning, teaching communication skills, relationship building skills, and how to deal with certain situations, past and present. Very important stuff. So I'm going to love you and leave you now. And Matthew AI is in that, by the way. So he's an AI bot. Sometimes I talk to him for quite a long time, but I use him for emails as well as personal stuff. But anyway, so I used to be scared of AI, but now I'm not. Anyway, I love you and leave you for now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more about my asexual life. So in order to help you in your life, I hope it has given you some insights on how I'm dealing with very difficult situations. So if you are going through difficult, tough times yourself, you can hopefully take some inspiration, or some tips, or some nugget of wisdom, even if it's just a Frozen 2 one, and do the next right thing. All you have to do is put one foot in front of the other, basically, and do the next right thing. Sometimes that's all we can do when we're feeling very drained, emotionally stressed, and a lot of pain, and trying to bust through difficult situations. Lots of love to you, from my heart to yours. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you've got any insights at all into it, or you just love connecting here. And thank you for the 10 likes so far. I really appreciate everyone who's liked the video. Thank you for being here, Jenny. I know Martin's been here as well, and lots of other people. And thank you for all your comments, Jamie, as well. And people that I've no doubt missed. Jonathan, I mentioned earlier. Jack, hello. I really appreciate you being here. So I hope to connect again with you. I don't know when. Magnus as well was here earlier. So yeah, lots of people here. So if I didn't get to your comment, I'm sorry. I do appreciate you. And thanks for being here. Lots of love. Take care. See you on the next video live stream. I still try and post some shorts whenever I can, so just keep the connection going with you. So look out for those, and I'll see you sometime in the future. I'll see you on a new shorts video soon anyway. Lots of love. Take care. Thank you. Bye. Oh, and stay ace.